So today I want to talk to you about the lies of wholesaling, because I'm what you would call one of those real estate gurus, and I've been teaching real estate wholesaling for quite some time, since 2007 and 8, when I first created the concept of virtual wholesaling. And there's some things that really are not out in the open, and mostly because when you hear what I'm about to tell you, it makes wholesaling not so enticing for most people. And so if you're in the business of selling courses, you're in the business of selling training, then it ends up happening that you're not going to sell as much if you told people the things I'm going to tell you. But I want to tell you these things because my mindset is that I want great customers, right? Because we help people with running Facebook ads and TikTok and Google and getting them up and running and getting them to be successful in the real estate wholesaling business. But it is problematic when we have the wrong type of person come in and want our help. And at the end of the day, we want good people that have the right expectations. So I want to share with you what the right expectation should be for you, because regardless if you work with me or somebody else, then having that in mind is going to help you. So first thing is that wholesaling is a simple business, but it certainly isn't an easy business. You know, when you get up in the morning and you get into your car in the morning, you put the key in the ignition, you put it on driving, and you go. And it's a very simple process. But if you take the hood of your car and you lift that up, underneath that hood is a lot of systems that all have to work perfectly together when you turn that key in the ignition. If one thing isn't working, you ain't getting out of the driveway. Well, the same thing with wholesaling. It's a very simple business, but it's not an easy business. A lot of you are always looking for that one thing. Man, if I only had that right lead generation strategy, or if I only had this right list or this thing or that thing, then all of a sudden I'd be successful. And it's flawed thinking. Because it's never one thing that makes a difference. It's always a combination of things that all come together perfectly in order to create success. And in our business, it's the marketing has to be on point. Your conversations with the property owners have to be on point. Your property analysis has to be on point. And you get through all that and you finally get a property under contract, you're still only part of the way there. Now you got to find a buyer and you got to go through that process. And once you find a buyer, you're not done yet. Now you got to get this thing to close. And there's a whole host of other problems that you don't even know exist because you never even gotten to that part just yet. And so all those things, from the getting of the lead, to the talking with the seller, to the contract, to the buyer, to the transaction coordination, all that has to come together perfectly. Otherwise, you don't get paid. And at any one point, something could fall through and then you're left with zero. And, you know, for the most part, if you're starting out brand new, you're going to be encountering, in terms of how many properties you're putting on the contract to how many you sell, I would say 1 in 3 is probably a good target number for you. Now that might seem low to you, but I'm being honest with you. You're going to put properties on the contract that are not that great. You're going to be in a situation where you're not going to find a buyer. There's a bunch of stuff that will not pan out the way you want it to or expect it to. And in the end, that's going to cause you not to do a deal. But it is the nature of the business. And so, again, it's a simple business, but it's not an easy business. So that's number one. Number two, more deals does not equal more profit. In this industry, it's always you're always given incomplete information. Somebody says, "Hey, I'm doing 15 deals a month," and you say, "Oh, I want to do 15 deals a month." But do you know what's happening behind the scenes? Are they making any money? What are the complexities associated with that? You know, recently I was reviewing a bunch of profit and loss statements from wholesalers. And it was interesting because a lot of people, and maybe you yourself, don't realize the complexity associated with running a large wholesaling operation. And I don't run a large wholesaling operation. I don't pretend to teach anybody how to do that. That's not my cup of tea. And, looking at the numbers though, I was looking at a number where one gentleman had done $1 million for the quarter. And now you think, oh my God, Chico, I want to do $1 million for the quarter. But in terms of the amount of money spent, over $300,000 for the quarter spent on ads. There was a big team associated with that. And by big team, I'm talking about over 30 people, over 30 humans that, now keep in mind is that in order to get the 30 humans, how many do you have to hire? Because, not all of them are going to work out. You're going to have to fire. On the way to 30, you are going to fire, you're probably going to hire 45 or even 50 people. If you have good hiring practices to finally get to that 30. So there's a lot of pain and suffering that went into getting to the 30, and then now you get there. But that's a lot of complexity associated with that type of model. I was talking with a friend of mine today about the same thing, and he runs a very lean business. It's just him and maybe an assistant, a couple of realtors, which you can't even count them as employees because they're just helping you on a property as that property comes up in that particular area. And he makes a lot of money. He makes more money than the person that I looked at that had the huge team. And however, my friend's business isn't sexy. You would think, oh, well, who wants that kind of business? And you think, oh, I want that business doing 20 deals a month. But you don't see the behind the scenes, right? You always see the front stage, not the backstage. And so I say that because your goal, and especially if you're brand new in the business, you've never done a deal before, I think a good goal for you is how do you do 2 or 3 deals consistently with high profit? Our average assignment fee is $15K. So if you did 3 deals, that's $45K. You spend $5 or $6K on ads and advertising, you net about 40-ish, a few other expenses here or there. You're in the high 30s. I mean, if you're making, net to you in your pocket somewhere above 30K each and every single month with a low complexity business, that's more money than most people make. That's as much money as many CEOs make of a variety of different companies that you might see out, not like Elon Musk, but, out in your local town. That's good money. You can do a lot with that money. And so I would say focus on that first. And then if you are making decisions about scaling and about increasing and going to that next level, is making sure that you're making that decision based on full and complete and accurate information. Because you might be going down the rabbit hole thinking, oh, I want to do this many deals per month, but then don't really realize that you're going to have to say yes to a lot of other things. A yes to hiring a lot of humans, a yes to spending a lot of money on marketing, yes to a lot of overhead, and yes to the ups and downs associated with that type of business, and everything else that happens along that particular scale. So you have to be mindful of that. So again, more deals don't equal more profit. And the last but not least is that, the third point is that most people struggle a lot in this business before they get their footing. Now, you may go out there and you may see the testimony of the person holding the check and saying, oh, I got involved with this thing within 30 days. I did X, and then now that person is all over social media, right, for that guru. They're hoisted on a chair and they're, on everybody's shoulder and all that other jazz, right, that you would do to celebrate that person. But, that person isn't the norm. The majority of the people, a lot of the people that you see out there that have had great success, including myself, there was a lot of struggle that happened before that. And that comes back to point number 1. The struggle was there because of the fact that there was a lot of things that needed to be done right and before a deal got done. Meaning that you had to get good at the phones, good at the comps, good at you have to have a certain number of leads, and everything else had to come together. And while you're doing that, while you're getting the experience and the competency to have all those things finally come together and create success for you, you're going to have a lot of bumps and bruises. And I see that a lot when people come into our program, and then they, they spent $150 or $200 worth of leads, and they say, what's wrong? I haven't gotten a deal yet. And I'm like, what are you talking about? You're just getting started. It's like you're running a marathon and you're like, half a mile in, and you're asking, where's the parade to celebrate? Like, you haven't even gotten anywhere yet. And so I say those things to you from the perspective of making sure that you understand what's required in this business. This is a great business. This business can afford you tremendous opportunities in life. But if you come into it understanding that, and these things that I tell you, understanding that this is not going to be an easy road, then you're better prepared. You're better prepared because now when you get those bumps, you're going to go ahead and know that this is just part of the journey. And selfishly, I want you to have that mindset, because if you get involved with any of our programs and you get our help, then you're not going to give up. You're not going to complain. You're going to be, you know what? This is a bump in the road, but I'm continuing to push through. And that's how we see the most success with our clients. And that's the success that I want to have with you, regardless if you work with us or not. So I wanted to share this message with you, that in the end, not all is what it seems, and to make sure that you're looking at not only the front stage, but the backstage of this business. So if you are interested in learning how we go out and find motivated sellers all across the country, you should probably watch one of these 2 videos that appear here, one of them, and I'll see you in the next video.